Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. In today's video, as part of my build series where I build up my Specialized Allez Sprint, we are finally done with this build. We're finished, done, finito, kaput, all of that. So in today's video, I'm going to give you guys a tour of the bike. We're going to go through all the different components on the setup, and I'm going to give you some of my initial impressions as I have spent a little bit of time with this bike out on the road. So let's get started. Oh, and let me know what you guys think in the comments as far as what I should build next. Right now, I'm thinking I'm gonna build up a gravel bike next, but that's a conversation for another video. Anyway, so let's get started. So about my Allez Sprint. First off, the total weight of this build without pedals, bottle cages, or my Wahoo mount is 8.1 kilograms or just under 18 pounds, which in my opinion isn't bad considering I'm using both an alloy, Aero bar, and stem combo. And the carbon wheels are pretty heavy. The wheels are about 1.7 kilograms, and that's without tires or cassette. More on all that later. I'd say with proper components, you can easily get this bike setup down to around 7 kilograms if you're willing to spend a bit of money. But since this bike is intended for flat roads, weight isn't really a priority for me. The frame size is a size 56, and it comes in this cosmic black and chrome finish. I actually haven't seen too many Allez Sprints in this color, but the paint job is absolutely sick. Like the fork has this subtle hologram effect that really pops when the sun hits it. It's super dope, and I hope one day you guys can see this bike in person. Moving on to the frame itself, it is of course aluminum, and Specialized uses this smart weld technology, and what that means is the welding points at both the head tube and the bottom bracket are reinforced to make the ride more stiff and responsive. The overall frame design takes its cues from the Venge, meaning it's more aero than the regular LA Sport frame and is intended more so for racing. The fork and the steerer are carbon fiber that comes from the Tarmac, and the seat post is also carbon fiber from the Venge with a 20-degree setback. Next up, moving on to all of the different components on this bike setup. So starting out front, we are of course running the Ultegra R8000 Groupset. This is the same setup I'm running on my Yoeleo custom build, so obviously I really like this setup, and of course it is rim brake. I also have next up is my Wahoo Element bolt. I like it a lot. It's lightweight and it's aero. It works really well. As far as the computer mount, this is just a $25 mount that I got off of Amazon, and the reason why I picked this one again is because it allows me to adjust the computer while I'm out on the road. Moving on to the handlebars and the stem. So both of these are from the UK company Prime. They're both made of aluminum, and even though it is aluminum, it's still fairly lightweight, and even out on the road, it's not a super harsh ride as you might expect. And I think part of that is because of the tires and because I am running a pair of Supacaz Bartape. And even the Bartape itself has a little bit of a hologram effect that matches the Allez Sprint frame. Next up, moving on to the saddle. So this is the saddle that I already had. This is a Bontrager Aeolus Elite saddle. Now I know mixing and matching brands might be taboo for some people, but I didn't feel like spending money for a Specialized saddle. But this is a short nose saddle. It is really comfortable, and it makes a lot of sense with this bike setup considering I will be using this to ride more aggressively because the goal is speed. Next up are the bottle cages. So the set we have here are also from Supacaz. Even though the bottle cages are aluminum, they're still pretty lightweight, and I think the set cost me about $30 or $40, so no complaints there. Next up is the Crankset. So as you guys can see, and what I've showed you guys in previous videos, is I am running a Quarq DFour crank-based power meter, and it also includes the set of carbon fiber crank arms as well. So far, the data has been super duper accurate. The wattage that you get out of it is dual, so you get both left and right power readings. And so far it's been super accurate, and I've already tested it against my P2 power tap pedals, as well as the power meter on my Wahoo kicker. And I'm also running these set of Keo look carbon pedals. They're super duper stiff, and I really like using these compared to my power tap P2 pedals, because even though those are also with the Keo look cleat system, These ones are just a lot easier to clip in and clip out of. And plus they're really, really lightweight as well. Moving on to the back, now I am running a Shimano 105 medium cage derailleur. Some people in the comments have mentioned why am I running a 105, but honestly, the reason being is simply because of price and because the weight difference between the 105 medium cage versus the Ultegra short cage, the weight is almost identical. So I might as well save a couple dollars there. Currently, as far as cassette, I am running an 11 to 28 cassette. It's good for the flats, no issues there. As far as the wheels, I mentioned it before, they're a little bit heavy, and these were originally on my Yoeleo setup from last summer, but I figured it made more sense to run these Aero wheels on a bike that I would be using for speed. So these are my Yoeleo C50 SAT wheels. The hubs so far have been really great. I think I put about 4,000 miles on it, but yeah, the wheels are awesome and they're still true. The tires are from the brand Wolfpack. These are their sort of cotton slash GP5000 black chili-ish sort of hybrid of tires. So they give you all the speed and comfort you would expect from the GP5000s, but they're just a cotton compound. I think that's it as far as components goes. My initial impressions on the build are really good, and so far I've ridden about 100 miles on the setup. Right now, it's extremely difficult to compare this bike with my Yoeleo custom build because there's just way too many variables to account for. Literally almost every single component on this bike is different than on my Yoeleo. From the alloy bars to the SRAM crank power meter, the dub bottom bracket, carbon pedals, and even the saddle is different than on my Yoeleo. Those are all things we have to consider before making a fair comparison, but what I can tell you is this bike is super responsive, and with every single pedal stroke, I don't feel like I'm losing even a single watt. And once you get up to speed, it feels almost effortless to maintain that speed. But again, that could just be the placebo effect of having a new bike. Of course, overall road compliance is a bit more harsh with an aluminum frame versus a carbon, but with 26-inch wide tires and a proper tire pressure, you can easily do a metric or even an Imperial Century without needing to ice your balls when you get home. Pause. But again, this bike isn't intended to be an all-day endurance cruiser. At the end of the day, it's still an aluminum bike that's intended for racing. So that about wraps it up for this bike build series, guys. I'll have more thoughts and opinions on this bike once I've spent a little bit more time with it out on the road. I just want to thank you guys for your patience on this journey as I've been building up this bike for the last couple of months. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down below. And I will check you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace. That was stupid.